Hey everybody, I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at and walking you through the install of this set of C&L rear brake calipers in red, available for all 2005 to 2014 Mustangs. Now you should be checking out this option here from C&L if the factory rear calipers on your S197 are seized, or maybe you've just seen better days overall and you'd like to find an affordable replacement that will offer some nice perks over your standard parts store options. All right guys, talking features here first and foremost with the C&L options, and the short and sweet way to really sum these guys up will be a better than new factory caliper thanks to things like the bright red powder coating to really help crank up the looks. Now I can think of a few different reasons why this might be beneficial for you and your ride, one of which maybe being that you've upgraded your fronts or maybe painted the factory calipers, whether Brembo or otherwise, maybe a bright red color, and if so, these would obviously make a nice complement to those upgraded fronts. Now the only thing that would make this maybe even more of an upgrade for the rears of your S197 is possibly even adding a set of slotted and drilled rotors and matching set of pads, and at that point you're essentially good to go for the rears. And if that is something you're interested in, you can find a few different options from C&L and PowerStop here on the site. Now moving into our construction segment, and one thing I do want to point out is the fact that these are a remanufactured or reman OE Ford caliper, and what I mean by that is these do start off life as a factory Ford Mustang caliper and then are refreshed and upgraded from there. For instance, these all receive brand new pistons, new boots, new seals, new hardware, bleeder screws. Everything you can think of has been gone through, refreshed, even new e-brake brackets back here as well. And then finally, they are given that bright red powder coat that really does set these apart from some of your generic parts store replacements. Now, finally guys, to ensure everything is 100% good to go right out of the box, the C&L calipers are each pressure tested first before shipping to ensure trouble-free operation. A price point for the pair of rear calipers will hover just north of that $200 mark here, which does make these a little bit more expensive than most of your parts store options we mentioned earlier. Typically, you'll find those guys between the $60 to $80 price point per side. So factor in the powder coating, and that's where you're going to find the difference in price there. Now, if you'd like, you can even check out some of PowerStop's OE replacement options here on the site. There are a couple to see. But they are not given the red powder coat. They're more of that factory gray color, and they are about $150 per side. So it is going to make these options about $100 less than the PowerStop OE replacements on the site. So again, if you want something that is easily on par with OE levels of quality, but also get that extra pop of color, this is really a solid option for you. Moving into our installation portion of the video, and the site is going to call this a middle of the road 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and at least 3 hours or so to complete from start to finish. Yes, there is a little work to obviously remove your factory calipers, install the new C&L options in reverse order, but you also have to factor in you will need to bleed the brakes here whenever you do something like this. So of course that will stretch the install time out ever so slightly. But now to give you a better idea of just how things will go down in the garage or driveway at home, feel free to check out this detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown from an AM customer.
These were the tools that I used. To the right, we had what we used to remove the lug nuts. And then next to that, you had the tool that we used to reset the piston for the caliper. Screwdriver, use that to pry off the caliper, as well as help us with dealing with the parking brake. Then you had your wrenches. We had a 15, a 10, and a 13. Hammer I used to help me, get that stuck bolt. Same with the PB blaster. So you got vice grips there that help me take off the washer on the brake line, the rubber mallet to remove the rotor, and then the jack stand, as well as the blaster that I used to loosen up the bolts. Not that difficult of a job. I think anybody can do it. You just got to take your time. I have 2 ratchets in there because one I use to remove the brake line for the Ford brake line bolt, and then the other one was to put the brake line back in with the new caliper. I'm going to show you how to do an install, calipers, rotors, and brake pads on a 2006 Ford Mustang V6. First thing we're going to do, loosen the lug nuts so we get our jack underneath. We'll lift her up, put them on jack stands, and then fully take off the tire. Here we go. And I'm going to go on kind of like the star. Get them loosened evenly. I'm just looking to loosen, not take them all the way off. When I have it up, I won't have the leverage of the ground. Alright, so there's ports underneath the Mustang where you can get up by hitting one of the points that are part of the frame, so that my jack doesn't go through the car, but I need to have enough room to put my jack stand. Let her down slow. Easy on that stand. Here we are. All the lugs are off. Pull off the tire, move it over to the side. Move that out of my way. That's what we're going to be fixing. The caliper, pulling the caliper out, new rotor, that parking brake assembly. Let's get to it. Okay, so now we're under the caliper, under the rotor, and in order to take the caliper off, I have to take it apart. There's a bolt here on the top, or on the bottom, and here on the top. It looked pretty rusted out, like they haven't been moved in a long time. And then there's the connection to the car, which the axle is here. There's 2 bolts here. This bolt here uses a 13 millimeter. This is a 15 millimeter. I'll use a wrench because I know that I'm going to have to put some spray here to lubricate this. Wait about 20 minutes on all 4 spots, bottom 2, top 2, and then come through here with my 13, loosen it, and we're looking at it from this perspective. So if my eyes were facing this bolt from the inside of the car, right would be tight, right, left would be loose. So it's going to go my right in order for me to loosen these bolts, because you're looking at it from inside the car, not outside the car. So I'm going to get my spray this, wait, and then come back. All right, using this blaster spray, I'm going to hit the caliper bolt, and then there's another bolt right here. Hit that, and then I'm going to hit the top bolt, and then the other top bolt. All right, we'll let her sit. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. Oh yeah, that worked. We'll work with the calipers first. This side is complete. Now there's a bolt on the top here. The other part of the caliper, and you see here, and then there's just on the top as well. Now we're going to take off the top bolt again using a 13, and I'm pulling up because I'm facing the bolt. I thought it would be. This one's a little bit tougher to get. Even I got messed up, turned around, having to see it from the other side, so you guys can edit that. Now, we'll go for these bolts here. We'll go on this side here, this one. This is gonna be with the 15, and again, going down. I really need to use a hammer. 15 mil. These you keep. You will use these with your new calipers. Okay, we're gonna go to the other side now. This is the bolt that I'm gonna take off right here. It attaches the caliper to the body of your car. I've already sprayed that blaster on it. Let's see if I can get this off. Then have to use a hammer for this one. Keeping this bolt, using that to pry off the caliper. And be careful, you don't want to damage the brake line. So the whole caliper is off. I'll be putting it right on top of the axle. Here we go. Brake pad. Brake pad. These weren't too bad, but my other side were really, really bad. Everything comes off. Back side. My rotor's a little bit tight here. All right, so we're gonna take off the rotor. You can see here, I can't pull it off. So you get a rubber mallet. Just kind of get the shake loose. There we go. Rotor gone. Put her aside, and we'll get the new rotor in. Do that right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab 2 lug nuts to hold my rotor in place, because when I put my rotor on, it's gonna be really, really wobbly. And we don't want it to be wobbly, and then I won't be able to get the calipers on. But I think what I might do first is let's change out this caliper here before I put the rotor in. I think it'll be much easier because I'll have more room. If I put the rotor in, I'm working over that side of the caliper. So I'm not going to put the rotor in until I take this caliper off and put my new one on. At least get the brake line connected to it, as well as the parking brake. Here the caliper. I'm twisting it around, being very careful not to damage the brake line. I've turned it here and I have it across this arm right here. I'll call it for all intents and purposes. But this is the parking brake. So the first thing I have to do is probably use a screwdriver here, flathead. That popped off easy. Okay, to get the brake line, get the head right here. You stick your screwdriver inside this head, and you get the pride to pull it out. You're just trying to get it out so that it can come over this nodule or knob right there. So more room. There it goes, and it's out. There. Now you gotta be very careful. The only thing holding my brake line is the caliper. So I'm gonna spray some of that PB Blast on here. Gotta be very careful with detaching this brake line. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my other caliper to make for sure and I can put it in right away. Okay, I brought the other caliper over. It's fully assembled, obviously without the brake pads. The package comes with a new brake line bolt and 2 washers that you'll need. I'm interested to see how this is going to work out. There's 1 washer. All right, we're gonna remove that. I use a socket for this one. Let's see what size that is. I'll tell you in a second, but it's gonna be interesting. I know this is difficult to get the, I've been told that it's difficult that sometimes that bolt or that washer on the other side gets stuck and you might have to use some pliers or vice grips to hold that washer while you unscrew it from the bolt to release the line. The brake line, I'm going to put some more PB Blaster on there. This time I'm going to wait longer than what I just did. We'll be back. And it is a 10 that goes on here for the socket. So we put some spray on, PB spray on this bolt here. I tried taking it off without it attached to anything, and it's creating a problem where I'm concerned that you do that, you're gonna rupture the brake line. So I'm gonna put on the new caliper, understanding that I'm gonna put the old one on so I can remove the brake line and then be able to put the new caliper in. So, a little sidestep in my plan, but this is real. So, I'm using the old bolts that go to the car. I need to use those. And we'll go ahead and attach the caliper to the car. You don't want to break this brake line, so I gotta move this other caliper. There we go. And I probably don't need to tighten it all the way right now, just to get it in. So I did the top bolt. Now I'm going to do the bottom bolt. I move it to line it up. You don't want to strip anything, so be very careful. Get my 15, and we'll tighten it all the way. I don't anticipate taking these off once they're on. So I use the 15 to tighten those to the body. They're tight, pretty tight. I'm going to take my 13, loosen up the caliper, the top part, and then the bottom part. Take the old caliper, I'm going to put it on. I'm not going to tighten it all the way. I'm going to use the screws that came with the new caliper just to put it on so that I have the top one, leverage to remove when it's going to drip. And I'll have it ready right here. The new one comes with the plug, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the plug out. Okay. I'm going to get my bolt ready with the washer. Then I'm going to take it, I'm going to pull it, take this caliper off, and then install the brake line. It does come with another washer that goes on the other side. So I have those ready so that once I complete attaching this caliper just for the sake of holding it in place, I'm not even going to pull out my wrench for that. This is a 10. I just cleaned it off very well. Take a socket. Make sure that I'm going the right way with it. Left. Finally. Okay, that was wonderful. Did I see the drip? Everything's a little bit slippery because my brake fluid is dripping. And the brake line is off. And my caliper has a bunch of fluid in it. So hold the caliper facing up so the fluid just doesn't keep dripping down. It looks like that washer did get stuck. That washer there. That washer is very hard to get off. It could be. I'm going to take a screwdriver and try to slowly pry it off. Looks like this one's screwing right off, which is wonderful. Maybe not. If it isn't, I have vice grips for this. So what I'm going to do is take vice grips to hold on to the washer and then screw it off. There is no easy way around that. Okay. Parking brake, brake line, caliper, brake line, bolt. It doesn't fit into the 10 with the new one. I found my 11 millimeter, put the washer on, bolt. We'll put it through. It requires another washer that comes with the rotors. Here it is. Put it on. Now we'll attach it to the caliper. I just want to start it. Once I start it, because you have to be like right center. It's hard to get that angle. There, I got it started. Okay, I got it started. I'll tighten it. And get the caliper bolts in. Yeah, I'm going to put the one on the bottom first. I'm just going to put the bottom one in so that I have room to tighten my brakes or my brake line to where it needs to be without it jiggling. That's what I'm looking to do. Because I'll have to take it out to put the clips in, and then there we go. This is just to tighten up the line. You want to tighten, but not over tighten. There, brake line is on. Now to get the pads, the clips. This will just hold it in place. We'll put the brakes, we'll put the, I'm going to put the parking brake back on. Okay, we're here to put on the parking brake. Parking brake is found right here. Metal piece with the spring. You're going to be looping it in to the top. It's very simple to put that part in. It's this clip that we took off. This goes on the top side, on top of this, not on the bottom side, but on top of it. And I have to push this top down so that I can have that piece go underneath there. The parking brake is engaged. Now I have this washer or this insert that needs to go in there. It clips right in. There we go. You're clipped. Parking brake cable on. Now that we got parking brake cable on, the brake line attached, I have the caliper kind of just a little bit on. Now I'm going to put the brake pads on. I'm going to take off the new caliper. This bolt that I have holding it in so that I can attach everything to this caliper. Remove it. There she goes. And now we gotta make sure we don't hurt this brake line. Now it's time for us to put in the brake pads, as well as these clips. Let's just fit right on top. One clip, the other clip, another one. That's just so that holding your brake pads in place. Clips are in. Okay, I'm gonna put the brake pads in now. But before we put them in, we're gonna put some synthetic brake grease. We're gonna grease our brakes, but not putting them on the brake pad. You got to put it on the back part. Anything that it touches, you know, that metal piece that those inserts that we just popped in. So I'm gonna screw it a little bit on there. I'm gonna rub it in, and also there's that metal piece. Get this metal piece. I'll put this one in this way. Sometimes that little piece isn't butting up correctly, and so you have to make some adjustments. That's one, and she popped off. We want to cooperate better over here, and she did. Okay, so that's one. Okay, before I put the other one in, I'm going to measure, before I put any lubricant on it in the back, I'm going to measure. I have a sneaking suspicion that I'm going to have to push this piston back, and that is correct. You see how it doesn't want to go in. It's not wide enough, because I have to take this piston right here and push it back, and I have a piston tool for that. So I'm going to leave this here and get my piston tool. Okay, this tool here is for resetting the piston on the brake pads or brake calipers that require for this to occur. And a 2006 Mustang, it is a brakes with rotors and 4 brake pads, 2 on each side, which requires for you to reset it. So I bought this. I'll show you how it comes together, or comes apart. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It applies pressure. It has a fitting that fits into, there's 2 grooves. Let's see if you can see the 2 grooves in there. I don't know if you can. There's 2 grooves inside the piston. So I have to set that, or push and twist, clockwise at the same time. So this tool allows for that to occur equally at the same time. So with this tool, to get this in all the way to one side, thread the needle through the top, and then this comes through and threading it on the other side. Okay, so now we gotta set it. Here we are again. That's the piston that I gotta push back. Got my tool for it. I'm going to set it up complete. First thing I need to do is set this tool up This has to fit the way the caliper is, the rounded side, round inside of the caliper. So if it's not fitting, which it isn't, you need to twist this top to make this go closer to the tool. Trying to do this so that you can see me. This turns the tool so that let's try to get it so you can see what I'm doing. Now I'm twisting it, and it's applying equal pressure, pushing the piston in. And every time you do it, you need to tighten up that top area to keep the pressure, pushing it straight down. It went in a little bit. I don't have it in all the way yet. I need to get a couple more, so it's gonna take me a second to reset. I tried another tool. This is by far, you may see me dropping things and doing that, but this is actually much easier than the tool I had previously. It was a socket set. Like it went onto a socket, but applying the pressure forward is very difficult, especially when you're in these small, like little areas. So the secret is just do it slow. Take your time, steady hand. Once you got it on, you really just got to take your time to get it to work. Try to keep it even. That pressure right forward. That's in pretty good. All right, so we pushed the piston in, just got a different angle for you. I'll put that brake pad in. We've already, earlier, we greased it. Now let's see if this worked. Yes, it looks like it did. Yeah, beautiful. Now putting the bolts in, putting the top one in. And we're doing it with a 13. Here goes the 13. It's not going in very right. I don't want to strip them either. I put the other one, start the other one. I'll loosen up the top one a little bit. Yeah, much easier to get in. And just tighten in that last screw. Change angle so that it wasn't like right on top of you. Looks like we got the brakes in, time to bleed them. See here at the top there's a plug. We got to take this plug out. Little rubber plug, we got to put that back on, so we don't want to lose that. Okay, that is a 10, I believe, on top of that. And so got to get a 10 to loosen that up, throw on the wand. But there's my 10. Loosened it up, put the plug, bottle, bleeding. It's got a magnet. I probably want to put it lower. There we go. So now I'm going to pump the brakes and get all the air out of the brakes. I've already showed you where we opened up the master cylinder, plugged this in here. Now it's just pump the brakes. And I'll leave that going so that you can see it happening as I'm pumping the brakes. And I'll show you how I pump the brakes in a previous cut there. Here we go. Once you see the line full, all the air bubbles out, take your 10, tighten it. And that valve got a little bit too heavy, tighten it. That's that brake fluid in there. That's that old brake fluid. Keep this covered.
Wrapping things up here, guys. If you are looking to replace the rear calipers on your S197 at home and want to add a little color in the process, be sure to check out these affordable replacements from C&L right here at AmericanMuscle.com.